I just realized I've been muted this whole time. Well done. Here we go. Okay. That was weird. I think my mic was muted and I didn't realize until just now. So anyway, for the sake of restarting, today's April 19th. Trading the Nasdaq. At the end of the video, I will go ahead and just recap all the trades that I'm taking and why, just for anyone who's clicking onto the video whenever, rather than having to sit through a whole like 2-hour live stream where, let's be honest, most of the time in markets where I'm just patiently sitting and waiting. Oh, for smart, we're patiently sitting and waiting for the most part. So I'll recap it at the end of the day. We started off looking at the 200 EMA, still in an uptrend, still over the 200 EMA on the hour and on the 30-minute time frames. So with that being the case, I'm looking for longs again. It's kind of been the case for the past week and a half, 2 weeks. So, you know, long and strong, we'll keep going. Waiting for a pullback here. I would like to see it get underneath VWAP. Maybe test this node or even test maybe like the first deviation if it can, and if it bounces off there, then we can start adding contracts from that point. The one thing I'm going to change from what I was doing before is I was being really passive and being extremely patient on waiting for it to really pull back before I entered, but I found that I was missing, you know, a lot of moves because it was basically just going up without me. So I think I will be a little bit more aggressive on my first entry today, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it doesn't, you know, put me in a bad position. But we'll try that, and then I'm doing that knowing that I can always scale into a second and a third contract later. Looking at the S. The S looks like it's finally starting to push, or trying to get back to the high from earlier. I could draw the opening range bars, but the opening range doesn't seem... That's not true. Let's draw it. Where's 5 minutes at? We'll draw the opening range based off of the 5-minute bar here. Let's go shapes. Top of the opening range, and we'll find 830. We'll start from here. This will be the bottom of it. We'll see how the market wants to act around these opening range bars. Right now it looks like we're trapped between VWAP and the top of the opening range, but it looks like it's breaking underneath. Hopefully we can get a nice little push down here, and if that can happen, then I'll look to add. Got to be a little careful here. Just know, you know, being aware that, probably can zoom in. Being aware that basically here we're seeing a downtrend, right? If I draw a little trend line. Like we're sloped downwards. Just drawing quick trend lines, not crazy accurate or anything, but just for the sake of being able to see it. Being sloped down like this, I could be buying a lower high or it's formed a lower high, right? So me buying this pullback may just be me buying into what could end up running into another lower high and holding this trend down. To be honest, I'm thinking that this is not all that important because it's from Sunday night when there's not going to be tons of volume, but you never know. Sometimes these things end up being very significant. Looks like it's bouncing off VWAP a bit. I will go ahead and just take the entry. Again, I said I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive than I was pretty much all of last week. Last week I was being very, very cautious. This time I'm going to take things a little bit more liberally. I do like how I had the nice pop up there right off the bat. Unfortunately, it is back in the red, and that's okay. If it does start coming against us, we have a good amount of space here, lots of things that we can buy off of from the opening range at the bottom, the first deviation off of VWAP, the node. So we'll just wait and see what the market does, and if we need to add, we'll add. If it pushes up, then we'll take profits wherever it makes sense. Sorry if that was loud. I'm trying to add like some just chill music in the background. Let's lower desktop audio a bit. Play. To be honest, I don't know if what's playing right now is even, if that can even be heard by stream, or if it's just playing in my headphones. Still getting a nice push down here. Looking at the delta, doesn't look sellers coming in, so not wanting to buy just yet. So just being patient. When you see these volume nodes and you see like these gaps, the market tends to rotate between them. So most likely we're going to get the roll down to the first node here, or not the first node, but this bottom node underneath the first deviation off VWAP. We'll see if it does that or not. If it does, then honestly adding off of here is not, not a bad idea. Even adding here is not, not a bad idea, to be honest. But after adding quickly on the first one, I want to be very cautious with the second. ES has formed a triple top. I think it'll break it. The delta on the ES just looks too strong for it to get stuck there. Looks tempting to take a breakout trade on the ES, but I just haven't traded the ES in so long. And when I didn't like it because it was too slow. Starting to get I know this is a really small time frame and not really enough candlesticks to see the total pattern, but this is like a very almost like a V cup formation there. If this happened over a longer time frame, I would have been very tempted to buy right on that little cross of VWAP there. We're looking to add on like a, just a tiny pullback off of it. But not when it's this small. When it's this small, we're just gonna wait and chill. Gonna try and let it hit something concrete, right? When I say concrete, I mean like an obvious support level. Like for example here, there's gonna be a lot of traders at this level who are gonna see 13,972 and see that as a support level. Same as the opening range. There's gonna be a lot of traders who will see, okay, the low of day and see this as a support level. So I'm gonna wait for something obvious. That's weird. I don't know why the desktop audio is not playing. I'll have to figure that out at some point. It was when I tested it earlier, but it's not now. And maybe it's because I was doing that with the recording and not a streaming. Maybe you can't do that when streaming. Market's stuck in a bit of a range here. It looks like it's trying to get above VWAP here. We'll see if it can. The question then becomes, do I want to add around this basically at the same price that I just got in initially if it breaks through VWAP and starts trying to push up? Because I could add right here, but it's almost like being in the same position that I was in anyway. Just I've taken on more risk, or I mean more risk, more reward, as they say, but I want as little risk as possible with as much reward as possible, and I don't necessarily know if I'm doing that by adding there. And see, I think changing it up and changing trading the opposite of what I did last week is now. It's always a difficult question for me. Like it's not something that you can really ever answer. Should I be a little bit more aggressive with that first entry so I'm participating and then not missing out on the initial pushes? Or should I always be patient, almost overly patient, and just wait for that major pullback to happen? There's not really a right or wrong answer. As much as some people will tell you should always be patient, always wait, that's not necessarily always true. I think that's the thing that I find the hardest about trading is the constant balance of so many different aspects. If you're too passive and too cautious, you miss out on a lot of stuff, and then you end up taking trades, and then you take losers because you just didn't participate when the market was in your favor. It just didn't look perfect. And then if you're too aggressive, you get wrecked trading breakouts, or expecting that you're correct and trying to force the market to go your way when it's not. Anyway, um, we are where we are. In at the first contract at 14.03. We'll look to add if it can get down to the first deviation off of VWAP. Honestly, very tempting to just add this range. Can't do it, won't do it. I've gotten burnt by stuff like that too much. Plus the delta is kind of sloped down here. Maybe if this delta was pushing up, then yeah, because you'd have a divergence on the delta and the current price. Then I'd say yeah, be aggressive, go ahead, add. But right now, stuck under VWAP. The range is very tight. You look at the VWAP bands here. From one band to the next band is only 20 points right now, which is very, very small. Just have to understand that the Nasdaq can, at any point in time, the Nasdaq can push 25 to 50 points in a minute or two. And the market does go between periods of expansion and contraction, so the longer you stay stuck in a tight range like this, probably the more explosive the move will be afterwards when it finally does happen. And yeah, origin code, I agree. That's a big part of why I'm doing this whole stream is just because I play it back myself, and honestly, when I started recording, that was the first thing I noticed is most of the time, what I'm saying, if you just followed whatever I was saying, it was, or if I followed whatever I was saying right, hopefully no one just jumps in and like copies trades. Um, Kind of your fault if you do that because I suck. But if I was to just do whatever I was saying, most of the time I'd be fine. I'd be very profitable. It's just, yeah, emotionally at some point it gets to me, and I change things up a bit. So always a struggle, working on it day by day, man. Buyers coming through on the delta a little bit. See if they can't start pushing this, and see if we can't get our test the opening range high and push above. What I'd rather not see is a double top right at this, or a top at the same level here, and I push down, because then that means I feel like it reinforces this resistance, and I'll have a harder time trying to get through it later. I think usually the first test is the best test, so hopefully we can get through here. If not, we'll just look to add and scale somewhere else. ES big sell off, Nasdaq following suit. I really want to add, but after the way it's been kind of rejecting this, again, if I was to draw a trend line here, you'd see there's a downward trend line, so not wanting to add while it's actually sloped down. I'd want to see it sloped upwards before I start looking to add. And just, even if it's the one contract and I hold the one contract here and it never slopes up, I'd much rather do that than add while it's actually trending down, and then I have to tighten up stops, and I'm just out quicker. That's what I meant by when the market is staying in a tight range like this, at some point it's going to break out of it from consolidation to expansion, whatever that direction that expansion, and it's usually going to be a pretty big push after it chops tightly like that. Okay, we're at the bottom of the opening range. need this to hold. If this doesn't hold, then probably getting stopped out. May or may not add depending on how delta looks. Yeah, yes, it is selling off a lot. I'm trying to take note of how many or how the size of this the buyers here. Expand here. Looking at this alone does not make me want to add, unfortunately, as much as I wish I could. Let's adjust these. Let's go to a 15-minute chart. And you see on the 15-minute, you've got a nice little evening star here, bearish formation. Again, not something that makes me want to add. Same with the 5. So yeah, it looks like we'll just ride the one contract. If it stops us out for our max loss on a day, then so be it. We'll just be back in here tomorrow. Just gonna hit exit right before it. I do wonder what caused this sell-off. I don't know. The answer is I don't know, but it's understandable being the Nasdaq. I've seen it before. Sucks that we're on the wrong side of it, but it happens. So we've given back 2 days of profit today, which is okay. I do want to see what ends up happening. Normally I would just walk away from screens and just be completely done, but I do want to see how it plays out. You know, I scale using basically a 75-point range. Give myself 75 points of space to get it right. So if you can't get it right within 75 points, then you're definitely wrong. Yeah, this is a huge push. Top to bottom, this push is just shy of 100 points. Wow, what a massive candle. Underneath the 200 EMA on the 30-minute chart. Probably not on the hour. The hour we're still above. if we had opened up like this and I had seen us, sorry, seen the markets underneath the 30-minute on the 200 EMA, if I had seen it like this and then compare that to the hour, then I may not have traded. But it didn't open this way. It opened up with this first green candle. Just extending out this opening range so I can see where it is. What a massive sell-off. This is where I wish I somehow overslept and started looking at the markets, now. You see a big move like this, it's easy to short these sideways movements and start scaling short, and you'd be okay too because it just broke underneath on the 200 EMA on the 30. And the delta was looking bad, so the only thing is just be careful, because when you're this far underneath when you're this far below the VWAP, like we're at the -3 deviation, you are very prone to have quick pushes to the upside. But after looking at the market today, I don't think any of these would hold. It looks like it would form a really strong downtrend, or it looks like it's continuing the downtrend from last night, basically. Well, that looks like that's about it. Looks like the sell-off is continuing. Just for the sake of recapping the video, started this morning, saw the overnight levels basically looked like it was trending down a little bit, but looking at this would load. Looking at the time-based charts, this first green bar, this engulfing candle, was the first 30 minutes of the day. And so on that 30-minute candle, it looked like we were pushing up. So I was thinking to go long. I looked at the hour. The hour also had the same, engulfing candle there. So it reinforced my thought process to go long. So went long, or decided I was going to take longs, jumped into my range chart, looked at the opening range, set my opening range high and low, bought off of the what I thought would be like a VWAP bounce. It was a little aggressive, but I figured that was okay. Bought off of the VWAP bounce. It trended sideways for a bit, sold off. I was hoping I'd get a bounce off of either one of these volume nodes or one of these deviations off VWAP, or certainly I was hoping to get a bounce off of the bottom of the opening range here. And technically you did. It's just it was only, I don't know, 10 points, which is not, it wasn't enough, right? So basically sold off very quickly, broke all the ranges, and decided to just dump. So the market basically died on me, took me out with it, and that's it for the day, basically. Don't subscribe to this channel. People are subscribing. Please don't. I'm only going to do this series on this channel, and then I probably won't ever upload anything here again. Like the video so it's, you know, it's out there. That's cool, but don't subscribe. Thanks, and take care.